and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one we have KAYN Jungle, the buffed Shadow Assassin. Now, if you look at the data, well, level 1 Shaka box denied, which is glorious. We always like to deny Shaka. If you look at the data, the champion still isn't performing very well at all. Now, naturally, Rast and, well, not really Blue Kayn, but Rast was really offset in terms of the clearing nerf by the buff to Ravenous Hydra. So the double camping and the optimized clears that Kayn had in general, this didn't affect Rast nearly as much because we could rush the Tiamat, we could rush the Ravenous Hydra, and while Blue Kayn could also do so, it didn't have the same oomph and sustain as the Rast enjoyed. Now, in turn for this, Riot has decided, hey, let's go ahead and give you more healing on the E. Which doesn't make a lot of sense, I don't get it, but the passive damage from Shadow Assassin when you become that form is a lot higher now, up to 40, which means if you look at the boot data, despite the win rate data for everything being kind of shit at the moment, yeah, Sork boots. You would have seen it on the thumbnail. No cap, that's real. In this video, we're going to look at it. Runes in your screen now, first strike. I do recommend the Dark Harvest for most of you. I think that's better, but in high elo, people still have the first strike utility, even if we lost that orb interaction. That was totally fair for everybody else. Now, I do love myself a good bit of Kayn, and I do hate myself a bit of Shako, so let's see exactly what we can do here. Remember that healing from the Shadow Step is in all forms, right? It's the base Shadow Step healing that has been increased, which is also designed to help a little bit. The changes to the jungle pet that we had, we have less gold now, we have less of that sustain against epic monsters, and obviously it will benefit tanks by giving resistances to the damage that the monsters, well, that the pet will now do to monsters. So you're seeing tankier champions like your Udios really pop on off, and in turn, because Kayn has lost all his optimizations, they said, hey, you know what? Hey, buddy, you could use some more healing. Let me help you out. Yasuo pushes into the Silas, which is, of course, a very popular jungle, and wards our Raptors. So we are seeing. Now, at this point, this is where I miss having my control ward strategy because, you know, we don't know where the Shako is going to be. He actually decides to go down. He's going for this more full clear optimization, maybe into the bot lane focus, which is what we would expect here. But just as easily, he could decide to cheese us, which is why our optimization in terms of our clear speeds, just as fast as you can get it in the moment, is good. I do prefer here going for the Grump. However, classically in previous seasons, at least season 11 and 12, we liked the Grump take because it gave us better sequencing. Wolves into the Grump, into the blue, but also the Grump would give us healing. It would give us level 3 if we hadn't reached it already because we didn't do the Krugs. Now, of course, it's not as much of an issue, and you expect maybe the Shaka to kind of show, but he should not show up at this particular point. So I do think we could have done the proper thing into the Grump and then into the blue camp over here for better sequencing, but this is really absolutely normal stuff from the Kayn. Don't forget, all now of these other GG Live Companion guides are freshly and juicily updated with the best builds. And if this starts to become a better focus here, remember, all you have to do is sub in the Sork boots and you'll have a good time. And I'll put that in there as well if it turns out it's not just an anomaly early on. But the trend is definitely promising. Oh, we click as we see the Shako. Hello, sir. Yeah. That's just beautiful. It's beautiful. And the Kayn's gonna finish off with his crab here and say, hey, Yasubi, you look a little low. Can we go edgelord one-on-one? Yasuo says, you know what, I'm gonna flash E, make sure that guy dies. Then I'm gonna live here so that I can run around and waste the Kayn's time. Now, as a jungler, should you or should you not chase here? Chase if you feel and your champion has the ability to get the experience as well, because you also get the experience here a little bit from the kill, which is nice. You could also just choose to get the gold from the bottom lane here. But if you really think, hey, look, there's no way I'm catching this, I'm not going to be in experience range, then just don't go for it. In this regard, though, we know that the Shako did his full clear, basically, shows a 24 CS instant away, which means we know that he most likely, at this stage, will have his tier 2 Krugs and Raptors spawning. Thusly, he goes mid lane again with the most peculiar path thing I've ever seen. And this is where, you know, I talked about this in the main channel video, right? Become a supreme jungler for season 13. It's effectively which 5 core concepts are the best for you guys to implement into the current jungle meta. And one of the biggest ones was extended sequences early. I know it's kind of baked into us to reset, take a crab, or reset and do this and that, but if you can do full clear crab, gang, look around, maybe 2 crab, maybe look for tier 2 camps on their side as well as your side, forget the counter jungling reduction in damage, it really doesn't matter in this regard. It's huge, being able to stay out and get a second rotation of either a quadrant at the very least, or into some counter jungling. And you see here the Kayn, even though the Shako does weird shit, we're still able to capitalize because of that intention. And with this champion, Silas, Man, I know his win rate isn't that great, but obnoxious, right? Like obnoxious, like, ooh, tough. So KAYN goes back to base. We're going to go with the Gus Walker Hatchling, as well we are with the Shaco. Obviously the Q movement speed nerfs are always Q movement speed activation, not nerfs. You know, when you're in a bush and you have Gus Walker and you want to Q and then get behind someone for your passive, then yes, that works great with Shaco. But you can also obviously do any of the jungle items on both of these champions. They both work perfectly well. All the pets have been updated on my guides as well. Now, the KAYN here is on the wolves. This is Silas. The names are everywhere today. It's like when your mother calls you by your sibling's name, and you say, I'm not that person, and then before you can say your actual name, they call you by your father's name, and then they eventually get down to you. And if you have, 6 or 7 brothers and siblings, my sympathies. But we were going to go back into the jungle here, now with 6. This is where a lot of you will kind of feel compelled, hey, look at this Grump, I must secure it. Yeah, but you're 6 and she's 5, and because of the experience boosts, okay, and this is the level 5 camps and up that have got that experience boost. The multiply did not get affected from the level 1 to 4 camps, okay? So the camps that respawn at level 5, those are going to start to get that heftier experience that we want. So early rotations, no break-even points will change, but after that second spawn comes up, the level 5 camp specifically, it's going to be huge. So for example, for us, we did this side first into this side, which means these camps, this Grumpy will be level 5. The Wolves and the Grump will be level 5, the Raptors and the Krugs will most likely be level 4, which means, in turn, this is now an elevated experience camp. So when we counter jungle the Shaco, we were not getting those experience boosts. But if he decides to stay out to the top side here, for example, let me just pause. If he decided after his death here to come out of base and take these camps in the gank top lane, and you, by happenstance, happen to be bottom lane, then these camps would have been a huge snack away because they're the level 5 boosted experience camps versus the level 4 that are not. However, those are technicalities. In essence, we have here someone who's very clearly not... Well then, I mean, of course, by all means, why don't we just kill someone anyway, and then we'll die. We'll kill the Soraka also. KAYN's gone back to the top side here. We're going to make sure we get as many orbs as we can. Thank you so much. Excellent tower tanking. Yes, we enjoy. So plates, remember, the plates still are as they have been. They won't change or anything like that. Ooh, level 6. I mean, I know the Shaco is available, but... I'm kind of feeling snacking this away, which, probably is a little greedy. But if I'm the Shaco here, are you going for the red or are you going for the Krugs? And that's a kind of mind games you're going to have to play. The safer play is, yes, just a straight up base. The more aggressive play says, look, yeah, you can kill me, but I have flash up, I'll smite up shortly, I can drag the camp as far as I can drag it and get on out, and we don't know what this guy's doing. The Shaco really isn't playing very well, which is fine, you got to play to elo, and guess what? He did exactly that. He went to his red first, which means you could have gotten away with this, and that's something I want you to think about as a, look at this, I want you to think about as a lower elo, mid elo player. Let's just say, and if you're below master, think about it like this. So this is an interesting phase here in the game because they've got deep wards all over his right side jungle. Seraphine Karma bot lane. Soraka Sivir ADC combo. We don't have CC. But Karma apparently likes to put herself in a corner. Yes. as we brilliant ganking. That's not a lane I would gank without my ultimate, straight up. That's facts. I would rather sequence a quadrant. I would rather do a quadrant down, use my ult to gank this because it's easy because we don't have CC, and then float it for a dragon, counter jungling red side, his bottom side. But we just kind of waltz in there after Krugs and eat some dirt. Don't do that, obviously. So in this game, we're not going to be going the Ravenous Hydra, and I didn't want to talk too much about the item because I wanted to talk about what if we built classic Shadow Assassin, we went Harvest, we went First Strike, we got our riches, we went for lethality, and what did the Sword Boots and that extra damage mean for us as a Shadow Assassin? The Sean Connery always comes out. Shadow Assassin as a class, as a champion. What is Rast and Shadow Assassin? Because I feel like more champions. They're not really champions, are they? They're more than that. They're greater. That's why the form game is so addictive, I would have just done the Raptors. Like this guy also, that's why I'm picking not such always perfect games. Like that wasn't such not perfect English. because it's important to also see the flaws where people make mistakes in this new jungle meta, you know? Like, oh, look at this challenge play, perfect. Oh yes, he went mid lane, what a kill, and he shoved it out like a badass, and then he went and counted. Now you know it's ridiculous. I want you to see what it looks like when someone waffles, even in Hyela. Like, he's shadowing that mid lane situation with your KAYN, right? So take the Raptors, kite them, have your E ready to go, and you can always rotate very, very, very easily. Here we will have the Shadow Step, off we go. We are level 7, he is level 9, so the experience boosts, as you're seeing, still nice. And the Shaker in this regard has farmed a little bit more now, okay? Gotten some kills in the downtime that we've been hypothetically talking about KAYN's pathing. And, you know, he's level 8 with a Herald, you know? That's a huge secure from the death here. All of this that the Shaker has now gotten is because of the KAYN's death in the bottom lane, because he waffled a little bit too much here and there. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait a second, this guy's playing terribly. How is he a level ahead of me? That's because that one mistake you make can give people freebies. And in the case where the Herald is taken, and of course now he's busted down and elevated the game state, that's huge, you know? And of course counter jungling adds up, but you can't really say, well, look, we have the same CS, why is he a level ahead? He has the objective, he has more kills and assists than us, and yes, he died 3 times instead of 1, but our death came at a costly moment. Karma rotates up to the mid lane, Silas eats some dirt himself, and now we're in a bit of a precarious situation. Like, what do we do? So here, I understand the desire to kind of hold the mid tower, but when they're very clearly basing and Soraka is there, we could always snack up the Krokhems, get level 8. I think that's really, really big. Let's get level 8 here. It's a late form for us. Okay, we want to make sure we get the form as soon as possible, and I think that's why the ult usage here would have been so critical to carrying this game now. I did want to show you a game as well with a bit of a comeback mechanic, because Assassins, and I'm going to be doing a more detailed Assassin video on the main channel. Playstyles, patterns, goals, team fighting, the ideal Assassin guide, if you will, but I wanted to kind of companion this with a game where, okay, what happens if we're behind in gold and I make mistakes? So we're going to go on in here, make sure we use our smite, we do hit our W, we activate the ultimate, she is able to get her ult off, but we're able to Q close within melee range. This should give us the form that which we desire, but do we have the CC slows and ability to kill a Karma, who is, to be honest with you, quite fed at this stage? Shaker's going to shove and also just do things to the ADC. Careful, that's not him. No, that wasn't him. So rotations by the jungler, rotations by the mid laner, and we fall. Silas just goes all in and says, "You die." Maybe more people can die. Let's have a look here. We have ult available, but we have no knockups. That's a bit unfortunate, isn't it? We now get ulted. The Karma's going to go for the wall. We reposition to avoid any sort of poke damage, and we'll just hold this tower as we should. Now again, these are not the best pathings. These are not the best decisions. You said hold the tower, not suicide into the tri-bush. But we have form, and now we have Prowler's Claw, and now we can build into a Ghost Blade. We can build into an Edge of Night. I feel like Edge of Night is a bit better in this particular game state, but if you want to go all in for solo carry potential, then your Ghost Blade will do the job. Out of base, we snack here the Raptor camp. Unfortunately, no one's taking a dragon, which is interesting. I do think we should be prioritizing that a little bit more, and I do think our unnecessary deaths have compromised the flow of the game that we had. Even if we were set up pretty well, the Shaco's just been able to benefit from that, obviously, and now we're losing a Scuttle. Remember that Scuttle camp is still Krug value, right? It's still giving you good gold, good experience, and obviously will benefit from the buffs that have come through as well. So let's have a look at, you know, the treat gold is now 50, reduced to 35, and you will get treats at double the rate once you hit 20 treats in this new meta, so that's a nice way to kind of escalate the gold at this stage without giving us too much up front, which is always what we want, but that's why we like First Strike, it's why we like Treasure Hunter, and this is all that we really care about at this particular phase. I am Shadow Assassin. I have, beautiful silence. We can go in there. Karma's damage though. Using, nice through the wall W again. Very good positioning. That's the assassin way. In and out, in and out, in and out. Shut up. Use your heal. Use your positioning. Make sure you're playing around your cooldowns. Use your passive as well. You can see here, the passive now goes on cooldown. We got that off. All right. It will come up again. We can use it again. And that's why we want those soul brutes, because that is the magic damage. It's not physical damage, right? Oh, look, this guy's... That was a bit of a... That was like when I used to stream 5 years ago and would play stream games and would play KAYN, and I would just miss every W because I'm not very good when I'm playing in front of people. It's funny, but it's not good. So I would just miss all my W's, became a meme. That was like that. That was like that. And sometimes I would hit it, but it is what it is. So now we've lost this tower here, this tower here, this tower. We got 0. They should snack that as well. Unfortunately, we died again. And this is why Shaku can be so annoying for everybody else. Yes. Did you guys see the Sivir skin? Did anyone see the new Sivir skin splash? Go to SpiderX Twitter. Very good. Very good. And we're getting a Zyra skin. I should have a Virkayu Plays channel where I can just kind of play like an idiot and int, but make fun jokes and play new skins and things like this. But, you know, when I have time to sleep, then I will think about more ways to work. Yeah, it's fun. So now we have a collapse here by our bot lane, and the Silas onto the combo is a little bit out of position. The Kayn goes topside to make sure he secures that blue buff, because we do like mana as this champion. We kill the combo very, very nice. We have now a Herald up that we should try and prioritize for the boundary. But we do have an Aurelia kind of roaming around. Is she here? Is she there? Where's the Shaco Shako? Where's the clown? You know, make your decision, make your executive decision. The fact we're down 2 levels here, I think is very interesting. Because we spoke off the beginning of the game praising the Kayn, criticizing the Shaco, and he just did equal and opposite. And if you're focusing too much in your game in the lanes and you're dying unnecessarily, and then you look up at the scoreboard and you're like, how is he 2 levels up? How? And of course that buffed experience, counter jungling, almost 20 CS up, that will give you those boosts in the experience department. So now he's basically saying, look, there's no camps on the bottom side, there's no camps on the top side. He was like, this is the problem. You really want to go for it. You have to be so damn patient. You have to really look for a play that gets you kills first and then use kill conversion ratio. Oh man. It's okay, don't worry. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, you see, the Q spacing is very, very... Man, for a moment I was like, hey, nice Q into the E, boosted heal, okay, we move, and then a box out of nowhere. So the reason why I chose this again, pros and cons of why Kayn is good and also simultaneously absolutely trash at the moment. And you're seeing just, it feels like he's hard limited. Now you don't have the Tiamat, you don't have the Ravenous Hydra, we have the reduced HP bonus damage from the jungle pet as well into the resistances that we don't really focus on. We have a form that just has been struggling for a few months, even though, you know, for 99% of you, if you play blue Kayn, you can shadow hard carry, right? It's straight up very, very easy to 1v9 climb if you are good at Kayn and good at playing assassins. Make sure you smite that, take the juice, don't care about selfishness. You are an assassin. Do not worry about giving the kill away there. Smite it, snack it, take it. Right. The Yasuo is pushing mid lane. The Silas is like, can I do something here? We are just floating, and it looks like we've stopped farming a little bit, and we have, because we've been counter jungled. Okay, we still have 5 left on our treats. The Shaco's long since finished. He's full build, basically, for dead ADC-ville. We just need to make sure we get these 5 stacks down as quickly as possible. We have 2 treats here, nicely stacked up, so that'll give us 3, which means 2 more. We have the Raptor spawning. We do have the Seraphine a little bit out of position, and again, we are blue Kayn here. So we don't have our boots upgraded yet, but we're nowhere near Mana Moon either. Control ward, but can we hit that? Yes, we can. We can make sure we get the W into the Q. You have your Prowler's Claw as well, which gives you damage amp, which you use to alter, and then you kill her, which is very nice and sweet. You ideally want a Prowler's Claw first so you can get double proc Q, but whatever lets you gap close, because sometimes you don't have the Prowler's Claw range. You need to Q and then Prowler's Claw to get the range off, but make sure you use your passive before and afterwards. Activate this bad boy. 40% now, from 30% peak to 40% at max level, 8 to 30 to 13 to 40. I thought I remembered it and I started blanking it, so I put it on the left, just in case, and I needed it. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I did remember it, but in the moment I couldn't. It happens, I'm sorry, you know. But we do have Serpent's Fang, and I think in this particular regard, Serpent's Fang, you might think, do people even build this item? And they do. We'll look at it. We're currently 25 shielding reduced. Again, match history is always linked in the description, so you can check this stuff out afterwards yourself. Let's see where we end up, because we have to come back in this game. We're still down a decent amount of gold, but we're getting as many bounties as we possibly can. This tower falling is nice. We would like to basically make sure we're strong as possible here to have a good old-fashioned dragon fight. And remember, you've got the Aurelia, you've got the Karma, you've got the Seraphine, you've got the Yasuo. So between them shielding their whole team plus the Yasuo, that Serpent's Fang could be a really smart itemization choice. But let's see how we go first. And of course, the Sword Boots gives you that damage amp that we need from that passive. So We see a ward here. We're going to clear that. Can we snack this up for some cash money gold? No, we're going to give it away to this rock, which makes no sense. Someone else should hit that. I know we don't do that, but you should. Now we're going to go on traveling throughout the universe. Hello, Shaker. We are now level 12 to his level 12. You see what happens when you can catch up a little bit. We're going to... Righteous justice. I don't know why. I mean, you should kind of see that, but he doesn't. So we make the pick. Again, step one as an assassin, even in losing game states. Get yourself as strong as possible. Make a pick before an objective. Then float and collapse on the fight that is invariably happening while you kill one of theirs. And that's the biggest thing, right? Make that pick, backline flank while they're fighting, and then turn in on the fight that's happening. And now you chase down one by one with the Silas over the wall there onto the Seraphine, forcing the flash. Will kill the Karma as well. Seraphine is a champion that exists and kills Soraka Mac. Oh, yeah. But that is a dragon, I think. That is a dragon. Now the question here will be, how do we remain as strong as possible, do this dragon, and not give away, say, a Baron, or push too much now and die? Because we have in the bank 1,200, which is not a lot. But when you have futures market, that can give you break-even points that others who don't have the room could not. Let's have a look here. So we're going to go over the wall here. As I said, we have the Ghost Blade. We've gone into the... Sorry, we don't have the Ghost Blade. We have the Prowler's Claw and the Serpent's Fang, so we can go all in onto the Seraphine. If you have the Ghost Blade, that just makes it easier. But yeah, we want to finish the Mirror Mana next, 100%. Get that upgraded. We are at 340 stacks at the moment, 339. And the Serpent's Fang damage is now 368. And then you might say, well, that's not that much. Yeah, but we went from 25 to 368. And look at this little sneaky Baron attempt. You see, they're going for this. Ooh. Good call by the red team. Good call by the red team to recognize that the KAYN went for an assassination, but unfortunately they took too long to do it. So this is one of those cases where it's like, hey, the call was good, but we should have recognized, look, they're all up. They're all coming out of base. They're all basing and returning. We don't have the time to finish this. So I love that call if you are able to finish it. I love the sneaky one, especially when it's low death timer still and you can do 20, 21 mana Baron. It's really easy, actually. You know you just lost the fight, you got picked to take in the dragon. Quickly, let's do this. But you have to be able to do it fast. And you have to also recognize back timers and how long it's going to take people to get you. In 20 seconds, you're looking to engage and fight. So it's better to kind of pull off it and turn if you really can't finish it. But if you're going to finish it, you need people to at least live, but they all died. So, right, Soul Boots completed. Mana Moon is completed. We should have the Mirror Mana in 6 stacks, and we of course have the Prowler's Claw. So that's now 631 on the shielding reduced, which in a single fight, in 2 fights, that's meaningful, guys. That's meaningful. I mean, if we talk about taking away like 5 AD from Graves early game and the damage that can do to someone, and again, a lot of damage, then these numbers do mean something in context, because what do they allow to occur? Yeah. Even if this was at the end of the game, if you reduced 500, 600, 700 shielding from a notable team comp where you're low and they're low and you just finish them off because that shield couldn't absorb a little bit extra damage because you reduced it with someone's bank, that makes a big difference. So now Shaker goes in on us as we're split pushing here. We're going to ult immediately. We do have the Prowler's Claw active as well. W just smashes him away from the box, away from the box. We have the added healing from the E, which you're kind of seeing on screen as well. And this item is why I prefer it. I prefer the damage amp and I prefer the gap close, specifically when you need to use your ult. You need to W, you need to gap close, and you're not going to be able to get there otherwise. Now, Blue KAYN has the benefit of using that Q while he's Wing, which Ross doesn't have, but that's why it's nice. It's very, very good. I mean, the damage amp here is not huge, but in each assassination, it means something, especially in closer fights. But, as you're seeing, great early game power thing, decent early game power thing, a few silly deaths from our part, and Lena's and Shaker doing those things, and we find ourselves in a precarious situation. So all we do is we play as disciplined as we possibly can to get as strong as we possibly can, and now we don't want to die again, all right? We've normalized the game state, we've taken a dragon, we've gotten some picks, we're killing the enemy jungle 1v1, we're 2 levels up on him because we have split push control, Camp's control. Tower's still up. Actually, I was like, where are we going? Why is the Yasuo here? It's because the tower's still up. Here we go. See, look at this. Don't have to force a 5v5 team fight if you don't have the comp for it. Shadow, push in front, zone can do that as well. Reli's in the mid lane here. If anyone is splitting from their team and you can kill them and move on up, which is why we like the Ghost Blade. Movement speed is nice, but I do like the fact that we went for the Shadow Flame overall. Okay, let's see here. this is actually a good response again by the red team, saying, look, at the moment they're grouped up, they're bunched up, they have a Soraka, they have a Sivir, they have a Blue Kayn with them, they have a Jax, they have a Sylas. We're not going to be able to just fist him at this particular moment in time. Red team here wanted to keep splitting those towers, but they have to leave this particular situation. We're with our team here. We flank again from the backside. That's always what you're looking for, the flank from the backside. Someone should have based a little sooner. If you can kill the Irelia, it should be you. You don't need to be here. The flank is great, but this is a nice move. And now they don't have the damage to do this. The Soraka silence. The Soraka silence. Well then, I was like, it almost looked like she was doing some super good macro, and then the Soraka silence happened. We're going to make sure we smite him and go deep inside him. He queues over the wall, that's fine. We're going to reposition here. The Jax should go in and hit helicopters, and then we hit W's, and then he dies. That's always good versus that champion. She's still surviving. New skin also. Nice route there. We can try and get... Oh, there we go. Oh, always, always, always. Eat your camps now and shadow the Jax. It's a good idea to shadow the Jax because, well, no one's alive. So we can basically push on up here, scan, control, get into their jungle, assassin things, baby. The Sword Boots, for this passive here, unfortunately, we won't have the data for it until you go into your post game and you look at the magic damage you did. Okay, because that magic damage will be amped up and amplified by your flat magic pen there, which again, it's not huge, but 40 plus 18, you know, like, it makes a difference. So now we, of course, have another Caulfield's Warhammer. What itemization could we go into here? You know, I still think we should flex into the Cyrildas. I don't think you should compromise it too much. Could you justify Black Cleaver? Could we go a late Ravenous Hydra? Yeah, but I do think we should focus on the armor pen here because I want to be able to deal with the Irelia. And even though we have the magic pen covered, so let's get some armor pen for the rest of our main source of damage is, of course, physical, and make sure we can just assassinate her in isolation. I think being able to kill the Irelia here is crucial for our role, so I would prefer to see that. Here we go. Gap close, flank, annihilate people out of position. This is straight up assassin gameplay. If you're 5v5ing and you don't like 5v5ing and you keep asking, why am I dying in the 5v5? It's because you're going in too soon. You're not flanking properly. I'll talk about this in the video on the main channel, but also you're not focusing on some macro pressure, right? Push the sideline up, push the sideline up, collapse in, force people to rotate, then collapse in, create the numbers advantage with your own pressure. Now, really, again, I would like to use an NBA meme here where we kind of use the Patrick Beverly, you know, he trick y'all man, you know, because he's running around looking like he's doing a lot of stuff, but he's really doing nothing. That's Irelia half the time. She trick y'all, make you think she's doing a lot of stuff and she's just queuing around. Yeah. So here we go for our blue buff. I think we could have afforded to do the whole quadrant and keep going, but again, mostly because in my mind that's ADC's already dead, you know, but maybe I'm being too cautious there and we should just rotate up and get the kill. But I kind of, yeah, we have the TP here. Yeah, I mean, you see what I mean? Like, in my mind, she was kind of dead. I don't know results-based it. I'll be honest with you, I would rather look for the Gromp Blue and then decide, okay, look, can I rotate? But I just don't want to be in a situation where... Yeah, okay, so objectively in this particular case, I know we're pre-trap, be with your team, rotate with your team, which is true. But there's trust here in the Sylas TPing. Would your Sylas TP in a low diamond game? You know, I don't always have a lot of trust in that macro play, so maybe I've been coaching a patron, by the way, coaching too much of too many elos. But yeah. Good decision to kind of rotate up, make sure you get the kill, but you have to be able to get out. Unfortunately, in my mind, they're already dead. So I would have preferred to do this, watch them die, then maybe like collapse on the cleanup, as it were, and then kind of counter jungle and then move down here to hit this one up, take all their cams. Like, I'm okay prolonging the game by another 3, 4, 5 minutes, especially if I'm able to take everything on the map, and they're able to get nothing. So philosophy is A and B, but obviously try and collapse and help your team and kill everybody. That is not a good back... Sivir gets the kill anyway. The auto attack from the minion gives us location. We don't have red smite anymore. Nice W hit over there. We do have the karma over the wall. The clone is dead. Long live the clone. And we just... When he's camo, Flash WQ will get you a lot of things, even if you can't see them. 90% slow on that W. And of course, auto attack whoever you can. Yeah, this has been a great recovery. 15, 5, 11. Great recovery. That middle part of the game there was a bit, you know, not so great. And obviously we have this rule this here as well. Of course, that's what we were going. You could rush the Last Whisper. I mean, typically I prefer going the Last Whisper first, but maybe that's just my old brain from Season 4. It's just ingrained into me for 10 years. Last Whisper, Last Whisper. Used to be its own item. That's why. It used to be its own item, and then they made it a component rather than an item in and of itself. But this is perfect. And obviously, I think the Ghostblade / Edge of Night here is a good idea. If you think you could die, if you think it's a bit more of a close game, then go the GA. But again, like, I do think with Shadow Assassin, you don't need a GA, right? If you need a GA for a particular game because you have to force things, the suction effect, like you go in and their whole team collapses, and now you ult, and then you have to get out, and your team can kind of play off of that, that's great, but in those games, a GA will be useful in case you're not able to get out. But otherwise, if we need a GA every game, then our positioning probably isn't the best, right? Flanking, picking off one by one, see that isolation pick, and then collapse on the rest of the fight. Always look for numbers advantage. As an assassin, you're always looking for numbers advantage. End of story. So, the rest of our team is now pushing up. Now, this would be a case where we don't need to farm. This would be a case where we can just run up and shadow them, right? Specifically in the coin flip of your low elos. I would rather be here with them and just end the game and forget about the Yasuo, but we're going for the solo kill on the Yasuo. So, we'll kill him for our own ego and trust our team here, but if you're not in Master Plus, please don't trust your team here. And honestly, even if you're a Master, maybe it's best not to trust them. Let them split push a little bit. If you feel like there's a legitimate threat from that split push, based upon the nature of what's going on in this base here, straight out of base, kill him, push on up, and join the rest of your team. But be careful here where you kind of farm a bit, and then go Yasuo, and your team could have won with you, but they died, and now you're stretching the game out. So, a nice comeback. Pros and cons of KAYN, I think, very, very obviously seen. In this particular game, pros and cons of Shaker too. I mean, that was absolutely terrible. He got fed just because he could Q and throw boxes. And then, of course, his weakness came through again because he's not that difficult to honestly deal with. He's just a little annoying for laners, and he didn't really fully do that properly. So not a good game for that champion. But KAYN, solid early, kept the extended sequence alive, decent ganks. Didn't play around his ult perfectly with that bottom lane death, but was able to recover. Good itemization. I forgot. 2,856 shielding reduced. Good item purchase. I know we want the Ghostblade or the Edge of Night, but if we can delay the final lethality item for the end of the game, then that's absolutely perfect. So, well played. Good itemization. The Sork Boots, I think, helped a lot with our damage. Like, share, and comment if you enjoyed and learned something. Zada GG Guide for KAYN, linked below. Coaching, available on Patreon. Also, coaching VODs, if you just want to watch all of the coaching. Season 13 already has a couple sessions. A lot more to come in December. And as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.